Hello, seventh grade students. This is Mrs. Gedicke. I'm just going to talk you through how you are going to put everything together from your last few days of coming up with a driving question and actually collecting some evidence through research. So first, today's document looks like this. It is your writing day document. And we're going to be covering the following learning targets. I can use research to answer a driving question about a topic, and I can use several resources to answer my questions through research. Then, if you wish to extend your learning, and I know many of you already did this yesterday, you can generate additional questions to guide some further research and investigation. So the directions for today, they're pretty straightforward because honestly, you guys did the bulk of the work yesterday. Today is a lot more about putting it all together into a fluid paragraph that looks and reads really nicely. So first you're going to, in a separate tab, open up yesterday's research document. So this was posted yesterday. Remember, it looks like this. You put your driving question, your answer to your driving question, and then you put evidence that come from at least two different sources. So you have that all ready to go. Now today, you're going to take that, put it together, and using complete sentences, you're going to put your information together into at least one really nice, well-detailed paragraph. You can write more than one paragraph if you want to. I know some of you did some really extensive research or maybe have some really detailed pieces of evidence. You can write as much as you want to, but you do need to have at least one well-detailed paragraph. If it helps you to organize your thinking or get your thoughts down into paragraph format, you're more than welcome to use the CER paragraph structure that we talked about earlier this year, claim, evidence, reasoning. But you don't have to use that formula. You don't need to feel like you're stuck to that. There's a little more room for you to kind of make some decisions about how you want your paragraph to go. Then, once you put everything together, definitely make sure to self-assess your work using the rubric that's at the bottom of the document. I'll go through that at the end of this video. Okay, so you're going to write your paragraph in this box below, but there are some requirements that your paragraph has to have, obviously. Your paragraph needs to answer your driving question clearly. Remember that driving question comes from the work you've been doing the last few days. So your answer to your driving question would be your claim, basically. And that needs to be very clear in your paragraph early on. You need to provide at least two pieces of text evidence that come from at least two different sources. You can absolutely provide more text evidence than that, but you need at least two pieces of evidence that you found from your research yesterday, and those you probably have, or you should have, recorded here on yesterday's document. Keep in mind, it's really important. You need to have evidence from at least two different sources so that you didn't use just one source. So even if you have two pieces of evidence, please make sure that they come from two separate sources or articles. You also need to have your own reasoning to explain your answers fully. So remember, we never want to plop evidence or quotes. We always want to work on introducing them and also explaining them, explaining how they're relevant, explaining in your own words. The evidence doesn't necessarily speak for itself. You also need to explain. And then finally, once you have gotten all of that down, make sure you look here at this link, the No Excuse Writing Checklist. We talked about this earlier on in the year, I believe, and we haven't used it a ton, but these are the expectations for seventh grade writing. So make sure that, capitalization, punctuation, sentences, commonly confused words, and spelling are correct. Just a hint, if any words or phrases are underlined in red or blue, if you right click or double click, um, a corrected spelling or even corrected grammar will often come up. So you don't want any red or blue squiggles. Okay, so looking down at the rubric, you are being assessed on two different learning targets. First is using research to answer a driving question about the topic. Now we want to aim for proficient, which is here. Student can create a clear driving question and is able to construct a clear answer that is based on research. This part here being based on research is really important because you may be able to create a clear driving question and answer the question, but if it's more based on your own opinion or prior knowledge than research and using your evidence to help explain, you would earn a developing. Okay? We want to aim for proficiency. If you would like to reach for mastery, that means you could create a really unique driving question and construct a clear and thorough answer after researching. So there are kind of a few distinctions there, having a really unique driving question and then a very thorough answer after researching, meaning lots of detail and evidence. The second learning target you're being assessed on is I can use several resources to answer my question through research. Again, we want to aim for proficient, which says student is able to provide at least one piece of evidence from two different resources with their responses. Okay, the way this is worded might kind of sound a little confusing. This means you need to have a piece of evidence from two different sources. So two pieces of evidence total coming from two different articles. Okay? If you only can find one piece of evidence that comes from just a single article, you would earn a developing. And if you can't find any evidence or don't cite any evidence and you're basically just writing based on your own thoughts, then you would earn a beginning. If you want to aim for mastery, you can include more evidence, making sure that it's relevant evidence and that it matches and it actually proves your point. But you could, the way it's worded again might seem a little confusing, but you need to have a piece of evidence from 3 or more different resources in order to earn a mastery. Okay, so that is basically the gist of what today's task is. Get writing, ask your teachers if you have questions, reach out, and best of luck with incorporating your evidence into your answer for your driving question.